Part 4 of this presentation highlights one of the biggest values to the state, DIR's role in IT procurement. To discuss with us today is Herschel Becker, DIR's Chief Procurement Officer. Herschel?
Thank you, Andy, and thanks everyone for joining us today. As Andy said, I'm Herschel Becker. I'm the Chief Procurement Officer for the Texas Department of Information Resources. In the next several minutes, we are going to leave you with information that will help you better navigate your IT purchases. At a minimum, where to stop for additional information and to obtain further directions along the way. I will cover an overview of the Chief Procurement Office's general responsibility related to procurement and contracting, along with each of the 4 sections within the Procurement Office, providing background on their primary areas of responsibility. Next slide. While the Comptroller's statewide procurement division has overall responsibility for procurement and contracting for Texas, DIR is responsible for information technology. So as the hashtag suggests, DIR is it. DIR is IT. DIR is responsible for IT commodity contracts through its Cooperative Contracts Program, for telecommunications, and for shared technology services. The procurement division is then responsible for procurement and contracting for technology products and services. Now let's see how that responsibility is handled across the procurement office divisions so that you will have a better idea of what is available to you to help you navigate IT products and services purchases and where to go for more information. Next slide, please. Procurement Services, led by Colleen Berkeley. Colleen and her team are responsible for DIR competitive procurements. She or her designated procurement manager serves as a single point of vendor contact during open procurements. Her team is also there to assist you, our DIR customer, with IT procurements, whether that's a procurement process or practices within your own organization, procurement planning, determining the appropriate acquisition method, especially as DIR expands its shared technology service offerings, or more specifically, helping you find cooperative contracts that are most appropriate to use when soliciting bids or other vendor responses. Her team supports the Innovative Procurement Lab, which is designed to help you streamline your procurements and to move to a more agile, iterative, progressive procurement process. Her team is responsible for processing statement of work reviews and cooperative exemption requests. Next slide, please. Hub outreach and training. This team, led by Lynn Hoddy, handles both our Hub program and procurement office training and outreach. This team has done a great job with our Hub program, which in turn really helps you achieve your own entity's Hub goals. So as Mandy's slide showed, we have about 30% Hub participation on our Cooperative Contracts Program. Further, about a third of the spend or your purchases through that program goes to Hub vendors. So as you use the Cooperative Contracts Program, your entity gets the credit for that Hub spend to the extent you award to vendors that are either Hubs or use Hubs in their delivery of services. Outreach and training. Along with Hub outreach and training, this team also serves other vendors and customers like you. They can work with you to help you learn more about DIR's programs, services, products, and tools. We can set up regular calls with your agency. We can hold a virtual training specifically for your entity. We can provide training at your conferences and events, or we can be a resource for one-off questions. This team handles questions from you via Ask DIR or the Contact DIR link on our page. They provide vendor newsletter which includes relevant articles. So if you, as our customer, have something that we need to broadcast to the technology vendors, let us know, and we can include that in those outreach vehicles. And also they contribute to the IT Sourcing Digest, which is available through a subscription on the DIR site. And by the way, I would highly encourage you to subscribe to that weekly distribution. Next slide, please. Contract management. This group is led by Ike O'Neill, and they are responsible for all the contracts: cooperative, interagency and interlocal, telecom, and shared technology services. They provide direct customer support for cooperative and telecom contracts. And Ike's team also handles negotiation for bulk purchase agreements. These agreements allow eligible customers to take advantage of already negotiated deals at substantially discounted prices. And for state agencies, you may participate in these bulk purchases without worrying about soliciting multiple bids or exceeding any thresholds. Statute allows you to do that as long as DIR has those agreements in place. Now, those agreements expire, so be sure to check our site from time to time for active bulk purchase agreements when you're ready to make those types of purchases. And if you're looking to make a large commodity purchase, give us a shout. We can work with you to arrange a bulk purchase through a DIR negotiated deal. And finally, Ike's team works closely with our operations division to provide comprehensive vendor and contract management for the shared technology services. Next slide. Contract services, headed up by Amy Pfluger. This team works behind the scenes to make sure that the train stays on tracks. They are responsible for vendor sales reporting and vendor reporting and administrative fee compliance. They work closely with our own IT shop to provide full support for our internal systems and for those systems that you use to solicit staffing services, to remit your statements of work, and more. And of course, they perform other duties as assigned. Primarily, Amy herself worked with customers and with vendors to match demand and supply for devices necessary to respond to the COVID disaster. She also was instrumental in the CARES Act laptop purchase that was conducted in December. Next slide, please. And finally, this slide provides additional information, additional resources, including the DIR calendar, the IT Sourcing Digest subscription that I mentioned earlier, and contact information for the procurement office. And that ends my presentation. I look forward to working with you down the road, and may all of your IT procurements be fruitful.